Hello everybody, here we are today. We're going to be talking about the NHL awards, which happened last night, talking about who won them, the finalists, all that good stuff. Anyway, before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or the channel. Now that being said, let's get into it. So the first award that we'll be talking about is the Calder, and that is of course for the best rookie of the year. You had the finalists, that being Matty Beniers from the Seattle Kraken, you had Owen Power from the Buffalo Sabres, and you had Stuart Skinner from the Edmonton Oilers. The winner ended up being Beniers. It is of course his first and only time that he'll win this award as rookie of the year. He had 80 games played, 24 goals, 33 assists for 57 points while averaging just over 17 minutes a night. I think this is the right pick. I think this was something I agree with. I feel like the main gripe that I have here is I really wish Matias Maccelli would have been in the top 3 finalists. But Power, of course, was picked in here and played a big role for Buffalo, playing like 23 minutes a night for them on average. And then Stuart Skinner was a huge part of Edmonton's success in that back half of the season to get them to the playoffs in the second round. But at the end of the day, of course, Beniers had a really good year, put up almost 60 points, and looks to be one of those bright pieces for Seattle in the future as they look to maybe make a deep run like we saw them possibly do or almost do in this past playoffs. Then, of course, we have the Hart Trophy, and basically it's just the MVP of hockey. We have that and the Lindsay, and that's my biggest gripe is we need to get rid of one because I think it makes it confusing for people. And I'm going with the Hart here just to talk about it because I feel like the candidates for it were a little better. I mean, there's only one big difference, but we'll talk about that. Anyway, so the candidates were Connor McDavid, shocker, I know, David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins, and then Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers. McDavid was going to win this. This is one of those problems I think we have in the league where certain awards are going to certain players, and while I do absolutely think McDavid deserved this, both of those guys in Pasta and Tkachuk were really important, and I would actually argue Tkachuk could have been the second place here. I don't see what happened for the voting. I don't know if Pasta finished above him. But at the end of the day, when you put up the stat line that McDavid did 82 points, 64 goals, 89 assists, 153 points, 39 even strength goals, and then you had 21 power play goals. That's some stuff you have on your career mode. And for the Oilers, again, more playoff success, although they say that playoff success shouldn't matter. Going into these, at the end of the day, you just knew McDavid was going to win this, but I would argue that in a world without McDavid, Tkachuk helping the Panthers get to the playoffs was huge. But, again, when you have a guy that is putting up 160 plus points, he is the man. And this will be the third time he wins it, the other two being in 2017 and 2021, as McDavid is not even in the league for a decade and he's already got a Hall of Fame legacy built for himself. Next up, we have the Norris Trophy, and this is for Best Defenseman. The candidates here are Adam Fox of the New York Rangers, Erik Karlsson of the San Jose Sharks, and then, of course, Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. And all these guys have won Norris before, believe it or not, but it is actually now Erik Karlsson who gets to bring home the hardware for a third time for his career, the other two being in 2012 and 2015. I have a little bit of a contention with this just because of the fact that, yes, he did put up great stats, 82 games played, 25 goals, 76 assists, and 101 points, all of those being career highs. I really do think the biggest thing here was, I hate to use plus minus, but he was like a minus 25 or something like that. And in general, analytically, he did not bring a lot of value to his team defensively. I know this award is viewed as best defenseman, but really it's best offensive defenseman. And I think there are some deserving candidates here. I mean, Cale obviously was a finalist. Fox, of course, has been able to have a great career too. Dahlin had a really good year. So I just think that, while I am glad to see Karlsson win this because San Jose is not very good and he's probably stuck there for the remainder of his career, it is one of those things where I'm like, man, should he have won it? I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for him, but we will see. Tell me your thoughts on that for you guys and whether or not you agree with that. Then for another award, we have the Selke, which is, of course, given to the best defensive forward. And the finalists were Patrice Bergeron, he's won a few before, for the Boston Bruins, Nico Hischier of the New Jersey Devils, and then Mitch Marner for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The winner is Patrice Bergeron. Wow, shocker. I know the guy that has won it 5 times going into this now makes it his 6th. He's won the award in 2012, 14, 15, 17, and 2022. So, of course, now it's got the 6th time, and you are wondering or hearing people call for the award to be named after him. I am going to say this, that he had a great plus minus, and again, I don't typically use that, but it was plus 35 on a really good Bruins team, and averaged the third most time on ice per game played for the Bruins on the penalty kill, and was a guy that just all around continues to be an impactful player in the NHL. I will say this, I think that Patrice could have a really bad year defensively. I don't even think the voters would care. I think that just the big thing here is you have a lot of recency bias and things like that. Bergeron is still a great player, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying that sometimes you do wonder in the future if voters will put in more effort. Not saying this is the wrong pick here this year, but I do wonder if some of these guys are just like, you know what, this guy's been in here a lot, we'll give him another one. And with Bergeron, I, again, will state that he is a super valuable player. I just wonder that if some people are like, well, he's been there 6 times, let's not make it 7. I don't know, just one of those things that I do think going forward, keep an eye out for. But Bergeron, you know, is a steal, especially for his contract. Do not take this as a shot at Patrice. He is a legend. And then the Vezina you have for the best goalie. That, of course, is the finalist for the award being Connor Hellebuyck of the Winnipeg Jets. You had Ilya Sorokin of the New York Islanders, and then Linus Ullmark of the Boston Bruins. It was Ullmark who ended up winning this for the first time in his career. In his first season with the Boston Bruins, ended up having 49 games played, 40 wins, .938 save percentage, a 1.89 goals against average, 48.5 goals saved above average, meaning that an average goaltender by league metrics this year would have allowed about 49 goals more, and his quality start percentage was something like 90%. Basically, 9 out of the 10 times that he starts in net, you're going to get a quality start, which is a good thing. I will say, I totally understand where they're going here with this, but goodness gracious, some of these other guys had pretty good years. Sorokin, I think, is a huge reason that the Islanders were able to get to the playoffs, but no disrespect to Ullmark, he put together a great year. And while he didn't hit that 50 game played mark or anything like that, it doesn't bother me. He is a guy that just was incredible, part of a great Boston Bruins team that brought home a lot of hardware individually, but of course weren't able to get it done, in the playoffs, but that's for another time. But anyway, what are your thoughts for these awards and these picks this year? I did not talk about the Jack Adams award just because I thought it was kind of boring. I think that's one of the more boring awards because you have an idea about who it's going to go to, and it's probably going to be the team that had one of the bigger improvements or the team that finished with the most wins. Bruins ended up setting a record. You just knew it was going to be Jim Montgomery. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Also, these are not shots taken at these players, so if you're a fan of this team, do not take it as a shot there. Just kind of more talking about how these voters vote and how I think that they just at times do their own thing. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. And also, please make sure to like and subscribe as we wait for the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade to be finalized. Anyway, everybody stay safe, have a great night, and you go off hockey all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.